Hi, my name is Merrick, and this is Review Corner.
Oh my, who's gonna take it back to the past? Oh my, to play the shitty games that suck ass. Oh my.
Okay, before I start this video, my last two videos, the first one was a different camera setting, the second episode was a different camera setting. Now this one is my back camera, so y'all let me know. Y'all let me know which one is better. Today, we're gonna be talking about Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco. I was huge into Wilco in high school. Kind of started with Jesus Etc. off of this, and it spiraled. It got me more into country as well because a lot of the people that were from this were from a different band who was a lot more country. It does have a bit of country influence in their other songs and albums. But anyways, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco. So I'd say the genre of this is more like art and indie rock. It's the fourth studio album by Wilco. It was originally released September 18th, 2001 online for free on their website, and it was originally supposed to be released September 11th, 2001, but they just moved it a week ahead. I'm sure you can guess why. The reason that they released it for free by themselves was because their original record label, Reprise label, didn't like the album. They didn't like it. They didn't like the end result of it, and so they refused to release it. Wilco went, what? Bye. Left them, published it on their own. Later on that year in 2001, in November though, None Such Records took on Wilco, and then April 23rd, 2002, it was officially released in retail stores by None Such Records. The original recording for this actually started in 2000, and it was really chaotic. They had a switch with their drummers, and they also just kept having disagreements between the band members and the engineers that were working on the song. The song was produced by Wilco themselves. I believe the studio is called The Loft, and it's in Chicago anyways. But also, speaking of Chicago, the cover of this is the Marina City Complex on the Chicago River. So this album was the last album with their writer and instrumentalist Jay Bennett, and it was their first with the drummer Glenn Coach. The two singles that are on this are Heavy Metal Drummer and War on War. Heavy Metal Drummer, I feel like it's a good song, but to me, I guess it fits the album, but I've always thought, I don't skip it, but I've always thought it felt just slightly out of place on the album, because it just feels so much more upbeat than the other ones. And it's not like the other ones, not all of them are super slow and sad, but it's just felt always just a little bit different, and maybe that's okay, you know? Being different is okay. The whole kind of theme of this album is very much self-awareness, self-consciousness, introspect, doubt, romance, and kind of love. I feel there's also a very kind of deep sadness that can be felt in all of these songs, just an unreachable deep sadness. And maybe that's more just projecting, because when I listened to this album, I was not in a good place in my life. Some of the songs that really got to me a lot were Radio Cure and Reservations. Yeah, love and doubt are huge themes, I believe, on this album. I feel like this can be especially seen in their most popular song in general, and also off of this album, Jesus Etc. And that song is kind of about faith in the face of adversity and a lot of crisis in relationships, trying to fix that. Just a lot about love in this album, I think. I know the song Reservations. Reservations is my favorite song off of this album. I listened to that a lot at one point, and it just really speaks on looking at yourself and your own issues and how you can be the problem, and kind of being comfortable in that even though you shouldn't be, facing the fact that you lie and that's how you see love, and he's got reservations about so many things but not about you. It's just it really touched me at the time when I listened to that song a lot. This is Wilco's best-selling work. It reached number 13 on the Billboard 200 chart. It was also ranked 225 on Rolling Stone's 2020 500 greatest albums of all time, which is pretty up there, I'd say, for 500. But also, that Rolling Stones, from what I remember it, because I looked at that whole list a long time ago, what I remember from it was a little crazy, and some of the rankings were a little interesting. But it's cool that Wilco's on there. It's also cool that Jason Isbell made it on there, 2 away from the bottom of the barrel. This is a very highly acclaimed work. It got a 10 out of 10 on Pitchfork. The new musical expression, or whatever it's called, the NME, gave it an 8 out of 10. But other than that, The Guardian, Rolling Stones, Uncut, Q, Entertainment Weekly, it's all 4 to 5 stars. So very, very highly acclaimed, which is kind of ironic because Reprise Records was like, this sucks, and didn't want it. Wilco's still going as well. They've been going on for a long time. They just came out with, I don't know if it's a new album or just like reworks of songs. I listened to it. I'm pretty sure it's new songs. But that came out pretty recently, and they came out with something last year as well, if I remember correctly. So they're still going, which is awesome. My review of this album, I would give this, honestly, I gotta go with NME here, an 8 out of 10. I do thoroughly enjoy this album a lot. I think it's really interesting how they use the instrumentals in it. There's this kind of hum that's behind a lot of the songs, which I think is really interesting. The very first track, I'm Trying to Break Your Heart, has this little like zing in it, and it's so pleasing to the ears. I don't know. But yeah, I would give this an 8 out of 10. I don't skip any of the songs, but I will be honest, I don't listen to this album very often all the way through. I listen to Radio Cure, Poor Places, Reservations, Jesus, etc. a lot more than the other songs that are on here. I think I said before, Heavy Metal Drummer is not one of my favorite songs, but it is a very solid album. The lyrics are meaningful and they can be heart-wrenching. It's very well put together, despite knowing how much trial and tribulation they went through to kind of get it produced. Outside of Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, this is a very well-known album. I don't know how much people listen to Wilco outside of it. They're a really good band. They were one of my favorite bands in high school. Less so now, but they're still good. Not exactly genre hopping like Ween, but they've done a few different things. Like I said, they've dabbled in country before. They were in a country band before, some of the members. They've worked with Billy Bragg. I'm pretty sure that's who they had the band with. Lots of cool stuff that I think is really worth a check out. One of my favorite songs from them as well, that's on a different album, is called A Shot in the Arm. Really good song. Anyways, that was my review of Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. I got a request from my friend on my last video to do a review of a Fiona Apple album. Lucky for you, Jude, I have 2 of those in my vinyl collection, so I can absolutely do that. So, you can look forward to some Fiona Apple next episode. Alright, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. I will see you on the next one.